When did it become okay to love our guns more than our children? When did it become okay to elect lawmakers that send out Christmas cards of their children holding the same weapons that are used to murder our children? Why are Republican lawmakers harassing ATF agents trying to do their jobs? Why do Republicans place so much value in an AR-15 and so little value in our kids? What should you be concerned about as a parent? It's not wokeness and it's not drag shows. It's the fucking guns and the lawmakers that love them more than our kids. When did it become okay to love our guns more than our children?
Good evening and welcome to Environmental Coffee House. I am Sandy Shellis and I am joined by my co-host Kelley Lincoln, who you have met before. I want to tell you guys that this is not a show that is anti-religion. We're not putting down anybody's religion. We are talking about the hypocrisy of the evangelical Christian right wing, and we are going to talk about gun violence. We're going to talk about a lot of things, Kelley, right? So welcome, Kel, and hello, everybody out there. I'm glad you're all with us. Yes.
You can see them too.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, you as well.
So what would you like to say to everybody? Kim, thank you for moderating, by the way. She's out there. And yeah.
Hi, Kim. Let's see. One thing I want to say is hello to everybody, and thanks for having me, Sandy. And, I was here a little while ago, a month ago or so, and I was looking in the comments, and I thought I would say to your audience, which, they kind of gave me a little bit of a thing about being a little bit too hopped up on hopium. And
really? Oh, I didn't realize
that. Which is fine. Everybody got their own thing.
I didn't notice that.
I trend toward believing that we're in a really messed up situation where we probably won't get out alive. I mean, none of us gets off the planet alive anyway.
Right.
But what I believe in my heart of hearts is that the fuel for miracles is not fear, it's optimism, it's hope. And so I keep some of that. I'm always welcoming a miracle. But with 8 billion people on the planet, we could invent CO2 scrubbers tomorrow that worked off the sun, and we still have problems. We still have a real, but I still will talk from a hopium sort of standpoint because
that's fine.
Yeah, we're not dead yet. So we may as well be alive and happy. That's all.
That's what I used to say. We ain't dead yet. I ain't dead yet, so I'm still going to be doing all this shit. Yeah, exactly. All right. So
let's walk
all right. Well, I'm glad that you said that. I don't particularly myself have that much hope. I don't know. I'm not an apocalyptimist, quite frankly, but I do feel that not all of humanity is a terrible thing. I mean, I love you. I love everybody out there. I have lots of friends that are wonderful people. So, we are just victims of a society, of a system. We are victims of something that, no matter, I know you're like a decade younger than me, but we didn't choose. We didn't choose. Even with voting and all, we still did not choose. And so we've done the best we can, Kelley, have we not? In our lives.
We are.
Right.
There are things that social scientists will talk about we
just testing
English. We can see patterns in cultures. So the cultures can be pretty varied, but once they organize into what we call civilizations, as opposed to tribal, which tends to be closer to God, closer to earth, a little more earthbound. But we can see, the breadbasket began in the Euphrates, right? So that's where we first know about society. That's where math, higher math comes from, all that jazz. People don't, human beings don't tend to see the collapse, the environmental collapse coming. There have been many, 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 many environmental collapses, and we just don't tend to see it coming. I thought with our higher level of science knowledge that we would divert. I thought that in my younger years. I see now that we are all unwilling to give up things because our neighbor won't. So when I talk to people about climate, they'll say, yeah, but Russia's not gonna. Yeah, but China's not gonna.
Yeah, but, or the whataboutism, right.
So I don't know what to say to them. I don't have any belief that China's going to do things differently than what China's doing. Although they're working with Al Gore, and they have been for a long time, whereas that's the first election that we overthrew, or the Republicans overthrew.
Yeah, that we know
in
of.
my opinion. I mean, that's an opinion, but that's the way I see it. I lived through that time, and that's what it looked like to me. That was George's cousin at Fox News, and we can see that Fox News doesn't tell the truth. They're in court now.
Oh, God. Fox News manufactured outrage.
It's like I keep them say, Fox, quote, news, end quote. I'm like, yeah, that's the way it is.
Fox News. Fox News. Sorry. Well, I'm not monetized. Fox News. Well, anyway, guys, as we have people joining, we do have articles. We actually literally are. And, we're going to sort of follow a format like Jennifer and I do. We have a first alert from WBAY.com. And
wait a minute, I have a question. Who was the man? Who was the potato man who's saying good things? I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting him to say such good things.
I don't have his name in front of me. I'll have to put it in the show notes. I'll put it in the show notes. It was a clip I downloaded and I forgot to write down who it was. I ain't perfect. I try. All right, but we'll get that. So let me go back to telling, the overview. We're going to do the U.S. surpasses 125 mass shootings in 2023. Here's every event mapped, which I don't know if we're going to go through every single one, but you'll get the drift. And then the next one is actually USA Today. Please stop asking me to address gun violence. I'm busy banning books. And then we've got a good article from The Nation, which always proves to be pretty good. And that is the Tennessee GOP's shameful expulsion of 2 black legislators. And then we are going to wind up with actually a study, first of its kind study, links U.S. gun violence epidemic to the climate emergency, which that's the first I've seen. So, of course, on this channel, Environmental Coffee House, we found it. We're bringing it to climate change. So, Kel, should we start with the first article? Since people have joined us, and I think before we play this first article, I want to play one little thing also that I downloaded. So hang on a second, guys. We'll play this, and then we'll start the reading portion of the show.
What am I doing?
You're doing nothing. You are sitting there
I'm over here trying to get this thing up, and I realize where I put.
You're sitting there looking lovely, and I'm going to turn the. That's pretty heavy, when the kids are, and they're mad. And this is the younger generation. These are the younger kids that are seeing the things that are just not right. And especially with what happened in Tennessee, and that was Tennessee. So, why don't we start with this? U.S. surpasses the 125 mass shootings in 2023. Here's every event mapped. Did you want me to start this one, Cal, or do you want to do this one? And then we can
Oh,
talk about it as we
I
go.
thought we were okay. Uh,
I don't remember.
ask me
I'm
again.
tired.
Yeah, we're both a little tired.
I know.
I just was going to say, I want to point out this website to everyone. It's called gunviolencearchive.org.
Okay.
And you click on their page, and it's just a little table of statistics. And so I just want to say that today would be somewhere around the 90th. Let's see, we're at the 7th. So it'd be somewhere around the 97th, 98th day of the year. And we've had 11,160 gun deaths this year, and 6,400 have been suicides. There have been more than one a day of mass shootings because there have been 143 mass shootings. 13 have qualified as mass murders with 4 or more deaths.
There it is.
Yep. And then look down here. Out of these 11,000 gun deaths, defensive use has only been 260, whereas accidentally shooting somebody, there have been nearly 400.
Mm.
And so,
Mm.
I own guns. I
Mhm.
I keep a gun by my bed for defensive use, and yet I see that my odds are very low of needing to use it by these statistics.
Right.
And so if somebody said to me, to keep kids safe, would you give up your guns? My absolute answer is yes.
Absolutely, me too. And I also am a firearm owner. I have a vintage Ithaca Featherlight Deer Slayer, and I also have a little pump action single shot. Little, they call it a varmint thing, and both of these were left over from the marriage. I learned how, but I would give up. But these are not the weapons anybody cares about or wants. This is not what anybody's going after. They're not going after your hunting guns. The Democrats are not wanting to take your hunting guns away or your rifles. We're talking about weapons of mass destruction. Weapons that are meant to kill human beings. That's what they're talking about, the big things. But this is interesting, this Gun Archive 2023 here. I see it.
Yeah. So I
So
just thought
67 children already.
little kids, and then what is it? Almost 400 teens.
Wow. Look at this.
And those are dead kids. Those aren't just those aren't. Fuck, I got it.
What? What do you got?
I'm gonna have to read that thing, and it's trying to paywall me. I'm having to.
Which one? I'll if you
It
can't,
doesn't
I
matter.
will. If you
I'm
can't,
not
I
trying
will.
to down anybody. They all need money. Journalists need money. I know. I am one.
Yeah, I know. You are one. That's right. We never got to say, remember, Kelley is from KMUD. Do they have a song like KMUD, KMUD?
I'm gonna have to get you to sing it. No, we don't have a jingle.
Oh, I'll have well, let's see. Maybe they should have a jingle contest. A KMUD jingle contest. But this is some website. I'm glad I pulled it up. Gun violence and crime incidents. Their incidences are collected and validated from 7,500 sources a day. Incident
And when you
reports.
So sorry. When you click on the little number, so like that blue bar that goes down the left side of the page, and like mass murders and mass shootings, when you click on that, it'll take you to the news report.
Look at that.
So you can see, well, what is this mass murder? The last one,
Wow.
yeah. And then
Look
you
at
could see
this.
where it says source. You could go and read news articles about exactly what happened. There was a murder, a mass murder before the Nashville one in Alabama, and a man went to his ex-wife's house and he shot ev- he shot a man who was there visiting,
Mhm.
their mutual children, her oldest child, and himself, and left mom to
Yeah,
live with all that.
unreal. So I'm
Right?
looking. I'm
This
just
is
going to
the
look
way
at the
we're using guns in the United States.
so you can click on and it shows you you can go to the wow, this is some database. You I'm verifying I'm human. Woof. And then yeah, look at that. Gives you all of the everything. Oh my gosh. This is one that is worth a donation. This is an
Right.
incredible amount of work. Look at that, Kel. Wow. Mass
Right?
shooting,
There's
so
a bunch of different looking
143.
maps.
Jeez. Unreal.
And look at
Unreal.
the map at the homepage. Look how dense the deaths are in the South.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know, California's got a lot, and I'm kind of surprised at that, but we have a lot of people. But look at the South, where it's fairly sparse in population.
Seems a lot less in New York than where I live. Holy moly. So they're killing themselves. They're shooting each other to death in the red states. Jeez. Well, now Florida. Now in Florida, that governor, whack job DeSantis, has made it so you can simply get a gun, buy a gun, and open carry, no permit, no background check, nothing. I would not want to be in Florida, quite frankly. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm.
No, that's
I
a
don't
little
think
scary.
it's a lot scary. I don't think I'm wrong on that, but that's quite a website. So, guys in the chat, because we're not gonna forget you. Um, we want to have a little bit of interactive. Yeah, Lightning Rod, you're not from the USA. A lot of angry people in the old USA. That was one of the things I did not have enough time. My mother-in-law passed away. She was 97, so she had a long life. But I was at my daughter's, stayed over last night. I got home this afternoon. I didn't have enough time to put together what everything I wanted to, but I wanted to get people from out of the United States. I wanted to get your opinions, and I wanted to because you all look at us like we're crazy. And I know we have Canadians here and we have people from the UK, and it's just you guys look at us like we're nuts because we are. We are nuts. All right, so let's go to the first one, and we could that gun violence archive was great. So this one kind of piggybacks off that, Kelley, and
Hmm.
let's see. You want to start with this one,
Let me
or
see if I have it open. Why don't you go ahead and
all right,
start and I'll put
all
it
right.
open. I
I'll
would
get
have
it. The Nashville Covenant school shooting, which claimed the lives of 3 9-year-olds and 3 adults on March 27th, marked the country's 130th mass shooting of 2023. The tragedy underscores another troubling trend in the United States. Firearms are the leading cause of death in children between the ages of 1 and 19, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation data. Since the start of 2023, the United States has averaged more than one mass shooting per day, according to the Gun Violence Archive. Thank you very much for that, Kelley. It's a great website you found. Yay! Okay. Um, and the no official universal definition of what constitutes a mass shooting currently exists. So groups, they define it differently based on the number of victims, whether they are killed or injured, whether the shooting occurs in a public or private space, and whether the shooter targets victims. This gun violence archive defines it as an event in which at least 4 people were killed or injured. The lack of a consistent definition creates opportunities for people to interpret the data differently, making it difficult for lawmakers to establish a set of agreed upon facts to address the issue of gun control. For example, using a much narrower definition of a mass shooting, security specialists who drafted a 2013 congressional report, my God, I'm slurring and I'm not even drinking, identified 78 mass shooting events between 1983 and 2012. Okay, just. The figure starkly contrasts GVA's findings for 2014, which determined 273 mass shootings had occurred that year alone. As to more recent figures, the Gun Violence Archive recorded 647 shootings in the U.S. in 2022. Compared to this time last year, mass shootings in 2023 are outpacing last year's. Stacker cited data from the Gun Violence Archive to visualize the scope of mass shootings thus far in 2023. Data is of March 28th, and I'm just checking the screen to see if it's too small. I hope it's not. Anyway, where they have happened. So just like what we just saw. So basically, this article is just going through what you can find on that website that Kelley so wonderfully found. And 2023, it shows you the dates and 6 incidences. Oh God, I am tired, guys. 6 incidents on New Year's Day injured 29 people and killed 6. And the Covenant School left 7 people?
Yeah, 3
children.
3 school people and the assailant.
Oh, yeah, that's right, 7. Yep. And we're going to talk about that a little bit also. But so it takes place in every type of public and private space. So basically, you get the idea on this one. I was going to try to make the thing a little bit bigger. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot better.
I think that's better.
Yeah, that helps.
I think you guys might like this a little bit better. Okay, so the next one we're going to go to is USA Today, and there was a quickie, and we're not looking at him. It was just I like the title, "Please Stop Asking Me to Address Gun Violence. I'm busy banning books." Did you want to do this one? Are you ready to read it?
No, I'm looking for it. What's it called?
It's the USA Today article, after the Nashville shooting.
Daily costs. I got Hartman.
No, we're not using him. All right, so I'll read this one, and then you'll read the next one. You'll read The Nation.
I'll do The Nation. I don't have one.
All right, you can do The Nation, and I'm going to try to close this stupid ad, which is not supposed to be here. All right.
I feel like that girl that showed up when all the work was done.
Right. Hello. I'm a Republican lawmaker, and while I'm heartbroken over Monday's horrific elementary school shooting in Nashville, I'd appreciate it if people would stop asking me to do something to prevent tragedies from happening again. I'm a busy person, and there are many important issues I and my colleagues are addressing in our quest to make the world a safe place for children. Well, actually, just don't have any. Then we wouldn't have to worry, would we? For example, books. They're often bad. Lawmakers like myself at the local, state, and federal level are doing everything we can make sure that dangerous books don't wind up in the hands of children. Yeah, such the dangerous books, right? Ban guns? We're busy banning books. Thank you very much. How could you even suggest? I'm loving reading it. But how could you even suggest that we consider something as useless as banning assault rifles like the one used this week to murder 3 children and 3 adults at the Covenant School, when children across the country could at any moment be exposed to a book called "And Tango Makes 3"? That book involves gay penguins raising a chick, and it might inspire a child who has not been killed in a school shooting to think it's okay for 2 people who love each other to form a family. Let's get our priorities straight, shall we? I have colleagues in Missouri who right now are bravely working to defund the school's public libraries. Oh yeah, known as repositories of potentially deadly, that's if a bookshelf falls on you, books. Thoughts and prayers? Well, that ship has sailed. Nashville shooting leaves 3 more dead. So that's another USA Today article you can go to, but This was pretty good for USA Today, right? And don't get me started on drag shows. We must protect the children. Oh my God. Then there are the drag shows, which have not technically killed or injured or harmed in any way a single person, but they pose an obvious existential threat because I want to be on Fox News. I want to be quoted on Fox News. We must protect our kids from drag performances, which is why Republican lawmakers in Tennessee recently banned them in public places and anywhere children might be present. As my colleague, Representative Tom Burchett of Tennessee said at the time, we don't put up with that crap in Tennessee, and we shouldn't. And the rest of the country should follow suit, right? Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Strong words from a strong man who knows when strong action is needed to protect children. So, drag show bans, sure. Gun violence, nothing we can do about it. And when he was asked about gun violence following the Covenant school shooting this week, Burchett smartly said, we're not going to fix it. Criminals are going to be criminals. Yeah, just like that. Criminals are going to be criminals. Ooh, and they are. Amen, brother. We can't go chasing waterfalls when it comes to something as complex as people having easy access to firearms and people using those firearms to kill tons of people, including children. There's a straight line between those 2 points, and I'll be darned if we're going to waste our time following it when there are more pressing threats like critical race theory. Oh,
Is he really? Is this really? Is he saying this, Joe?
this is
Oh,
This is
who is that?
this is sarcasm. This is total humor. We didn't have time to read thoroughly everything on everybody out there, just so to understand. I sent Kelley this at the last minute.
I
So
was like, is this the Onion?
it's the Onion in the USA News. There you go. That's
Oh.
why I like it's the Onion. And the rest are okay. So when asked about gun violence following the Covenant school shooting this week, Burchett smartly said, we're not going to fix it. Criminals are going to be criminals. Okay. So, amen, brother. We can't go chasing waterfalls when it comes to something as complex as people having easy access to firearms and people using those firearms to kill tons of people, including children. There's a straight line between those 2 points. We're not going to do it. So what if my kid is distracted by critical race theory during a school shooting? Do you know how many children have died from critical race theory this year alone? It is definitely somewhere between 0 and a lot. So it's good that Republican lawmakers across the country are fighting to end this teaching of this thing I can't quite define. A ban that would keep a powerful assault style rifle out of the hands of a person like the Covenant school shooter, it's pointless. But making sure our children aren't thinking about the history of slavery while they're hiding from an active shooter is something we sure as shit can accomplish that. We can't stop gun violence, but we can stop dangerous education. I feel like I'm Mrs. Betty Bowers. Has anybody ever seen her?
I was just thinking about her.
Yeah,
She did
I feel like
wheel of distractions.
I feel like I'm Mrs. Betty Bowers reading this. The other day, only I'm not dressed like her. The other day, while I was not considering a way to address the frequent and uniquely American issue of school shootings, I came up with a list of the greatest threats our children face. Wokeness, Disney, lesbian M&Ms, diversity, equity, inclusion, Renaissance art, also known as statue porn, the word gay and it being said out loud, and probably mail-in voting. These are all things we can and should ban to keep our children safe. But guns? Who's that going to help? Aside from like the people being killed by guns? No, as Representative Burchett suggested, we can't possibly stop school shootings, but we can put a stop to what my fellow Republicans see as the most dangerous thing that happens in schools? Learning. And that is the most dangerous thing. That was satire. And I am sorry I sprung that one on you at the last minute, Cal. I'm really sorry. I had read it, but I didn't realize. Okay. It doesn't matter, guys. Did you like that? Because actually, I was like, oh, I'm Mrs. Betty Bowers today.
We're gonna get you some red lipstick and some little gloves.
Wait. My pink won't work. Wait, but see, I wear pink, and my little gloves are cut off on the fingers with fire on them. I'm not Mrs. Betty Powers. She does a good job, though. She does.
Oh,
so how you guys doing out there?
How are you guys
They're
doing?
all chatting away. That's good.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Before we go on, I'm going to take that one. There was one. You can't, guys. It's hard for you to see this, but this is a list I have, and I'm not going to read it all. I think you can see it. It's a screen share. Let me see. Can you see this? If I pull this up, I don't know if they could see it. Oh yeah, they can. Okay, so it starts at Columbine, and it is all of the school shootings since Columbine. And I know that it's difficult, and I just have this list. So it was on Facebook. And I mean, there's like Price Middle School, University of Central Florida, it just goes down and down and down. And Harrisburg High School, Texas Southern University, just on and on and on and on, right? Okay, so here we go. We go to the bottom, and the bottom of it, and it just keeps going. Is your kid's school next? Well, when this was on Facebook, on my friend's page, somebody asked him if it was fake and said that's fake news. Some right wing.
that's part of the psyop.
Yeah, it was a psyop. It's fake news. So I said I got on there and I started
You're
Googling.
misunderstanding me. That's to say that is the psyop.
Yeah.
Info Wars. That guy. He is the agent of psychological operations.
Yeah, just some jerk on Facebook. Yep. That's what he was saying. He was saying to my other friend that it's fake news. And I just went on and I started Googling them. And I said, listen. And I put every article that came up after I Googled. I didn't Google all of them. I made my point to the guy. You're a fucking moron. And my other friend said, see, he didn't come back. He didn't say anything. And I don't, getting political on Facebook is difficult because my page, people get angry and my family's on it. And it's just, it isn't worth it. So, and that's why we have Facebook, the other page anyway. All right, Kel, it's your turn. I've been blabbing enough.
Well, and I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I'm really upset about the psychological operations.
All right.
I have zero doubt that there are active, I think it was the Danish leader, where they say this is how it is. They just talk about it really openly. They have education plans for their kids to help them know how to manage it. We absolutely need that worldwide, in the United States especially. There's an active psychological operation going on. You talk about Senator Whitehouse sometimes and the dark money. What does that pay for? Well, sometimes it buys Justice Thomas, and Beer Bong Kavanaugh, but a lot of times it buys InfoWars. Who paid him to do all that? He didn't do that all on vitamin supplements. He was making a lot of money, right?
Yeah. Our favorite friend over there in Texas.
I can't remember his name, but even if I could, I don't want to say it. I don't need to give him any.
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
I'm not shy. Yeah. Alex whack job. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to me because one of the things that does, and we see it with so many things. If we pay an agent provocateur like him to blow a topic up with crazy talk, then normal people like you and me When we
No.
go to doubt the company line coming out of the federal government, coming out of Pharma, coming out of wherever, then we get lumped in with the crazy people. And we now don't have to have, there's no opportunity to have a good conversation about the pros and cons of gun violence, the pros and cons of a vaccine, the pros and cons of whatever, what did or didn't happen. Panda, really? She's going to make a bunch of noise.
Your
She's getting
doggy?
the dog is.
Show her to everybody if you can. We love dogs. We love cats. Jennifer always has her little cat at the end. I can't bring my cats in here because I have 6 of them and they're a pain in the ass. And now they've taken to standing outside the office door. There's 2 of them scratching the door. And the doors are kind of shitty. So now they're scratched doors. I'll never be able to sell this house. I mean, it's like it would only have to be another cat nut, which I wasn't, but anyway. So, all right,
so
guys.
I'm thinking about that. Okay, so the Tennessee GOP's shameful expulsion of 2 Black legislators. And I wondered if you had any clips of them speaking, because they are very eloquent, and I do not need to speak for them.
I could find them on Twitter, but I don't because I didn't have time to do it.
Okay, people should go and listen to those gentlemen speak, because they are gentlemen. They're very educated, and I think the Republicans in Tennessee picked on the wrong 2 people.
Good.
I think they'll be sorry.
Racist fuckers.
So this is in the Nation. It was printed, I think, today, right?
Yep. 11:04 a.m.
Okay. So in a more just, more sane world, a Google search for the term racist show trial would promptly yield footage of the despicable vote in the GOP-led Tennessee legislature to expel 2 Black members for the offense of doing their jobs, using their position to advocate for desperately needed gun control legislation. The 2 Black members are Justin Jones from Nashville and Justin Pearson from Memphis. Now, both those places had mass shootings in the same week. We know about, I'm not reading no more, I'm telling you. We know about the one in Nashville, but in Memphis, within the week, what happened? Oh, it was outside of a bar, and a man, I believe it was a man, a shooter, shot 7 people. 2 of them died. The other 5 went to the hospital. And it was some fallout from some stupid fight inside the bar. I don't know more than that.
On and on.
So Pearson from Nashville, Pearson both helped escort a group of high school protesters into the state capitol Thursday to demand action on gun control in the wake of the horrific killing of 6 people at the Nashville private school. Both representatives went to the well of the legislative chamber. That's the spot on the floor where lawmakers typically address the assembly, and helped lead chants of protest. At times, they each spoke through a megaphone. The crowd stayed briefly and peacefully dispersed. That's it. That's how little you have to diverge from the anxious, controlling, autocratic leadership of the MAGA Republican Party to lose office outright. Nor is that all. I don't like the way they wrote that.
Okay.
But nor is that all, of course. Another member, Gloria Johnson,
you're a writer,
who is white, was also subject to the expulsion vote, but wound up keeping her seat when the Republicans fell 1 vote short of the 2/3 majority vote required to expel her. When reporters asked her why she was spared expulsion when Pearson and Jones were not, she bluntly replied, "It may have to do with the color of our skin," because she's a white lady.
Yeah.
And I think there's one Republican who didn't have the balls to not vote for the Black men to be expelled, but wanted to bring attention to it, because this is an attention-getting moment. Anyway, all you have to do is queue up the sententious, I don't like that word either, gloating speeches by supporters of the by the supporters of the Jones and Pearson expulsions to see racist contempt in undiluted form. White GOP Representative Andrew Farmer berated the protesting lawmakers for disruptive and immature protest antics.
Kelley, that's the graphic I have. Andrew Farmer. That's the guy. This guy. Can everybody see it? This is the guy. Andrew Farmer. The mother of a Covenant school shooting survivor came to Tennessee Capitol to demand something be done about gun violence. And this, I won't say expletive deleted, accused her of throwing a temper tantrum. Andrew Farmer, 425, Representative John Lewis Way, North, Suite 630, Nashville. You guys, you can ring back, you can call him, you can protest, you can write a letter. This is an asshole. So there you go, Cal. Continue.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Leave him up because I want
to leave him up
because I'm going to quote him here. Just because you don't get your way, you can't come to the well, bring your friends, and throw a temper tantrum with an adolescent bullhorn, Farmer intoned, sounding for all the world like an outraged plantation overseer. The reason the motion was moving forward, Farmer continued, was because of Jones. Excuse me.
We're all animal lovers here. It's all good. Let the dog bark on Sky. I love it. I love it.
She's got to stop that because she just is barking at people walking down the road.
And they're beautiful. They're beautiful dogs. Kelley sent me pictures walking on the beach with her dog.
She's down below the camera, and I don't want to rearrange everything now.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. All right, continue because now I have to find where we were.
Okay. No. I think.
That's a big dog. It's not like Sancho Panza going, woof, woof.
No,
it's Sam Mitchell's dog. Woof. That's Sancho Panza.
So,
gosh.
Bring your friends. Let's see. The reason the motion was moving forward, Farmer continued, was because of Jones, Pearson, and Johnson's, quote, yearning to have attention. That's what you wanted. Well, that's what you're going to get. In his closing flourish, he counseled them that they would have better served their cause by simply introducing and passing legislation. Quote, all you got to do is pass a bill, he sneered as if the notion had never occurred to the sitting legislators. Of course, the whole reason the protest was mobilized was because, people could see what he was saying to people, to exert pressure on the state GOP to do precisely that at a moment when its members were only considering measures to increase armed security personnel in statewide schools, which I hate because that's a police state.
It's
and
horrible.
People say, well, the Democrats, the anti-gun people want a police state. No, when you put armed guards in the schools, I had to go to the courthouse and pay my taxes today. I have to take everything out of that's a police state. I'm living in a police state.
And they I love when the right wing will say, oh, they want a nanny state when they are the biggest nanny state motherfuckers going. Sorry.
I swear that's water, not white lightning. They want to increase guns in school, do mental health, and more school security, said Tennessee Democrat Representative Steve Cohen. That will do nothing for people killed in movie theaters in Colorado, concerts in Las Vegas, churches in Texas, gay clubs in Florida. To deal with the real problem, you have to stand up to the NRA, who want to sell guns to everyone. And the Republicans, will never do that. Cohen served for more than 2 decades in the Tennessee legislature prior to coming to Congress. He was shaken by the chamber's action. Quote, what they did today was shameful. I'm a little teary-eyed watching the coverage. I spent 25 years there. I put up with a bunch of aggressive conservative behavior. I was put in timeouts by those people.
Oh, my God.
What the hell goes on in Tennessee? That's what I want. He says conservatives, not even the right word for it. They're reactionaries, and that's accurate. And when you're opening, you were talking about like climate change and guns and stuff, and I think more it's about the economy.
Oh.
We'll see what falls out, but I think that the people that pay the dark money that Senator Whitehouse talks about,
The Heritage Foundation,
well, they're the receivers
part
of
of
the
the
money, and
Federalist
they're
Society. Yeah.
right. Those organizations receive the money, but there are billionaires, and we don't know which ones paying the money.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bingo.
and when they pay that money, they want a certain thing. Our kids, by our I mean poor children in average public schools do not read Machiavelli. Rich kids carry Machiavelli in their pockets. They know what the masses are, and they know they're not among them. And there is did you remember from the 70s a book called The Lifeboat Theory?
Yeah, I do.
That is one of the most evil pieces of
Yeah.
work,
The
and it
lifeboat theory.
is exactly what's going on. It's why those people think that the Mexicans or the Guatemalans and the people that are walking 1,000 miles to come to the United States, why they think they're dangerous, because they think there's not room for them in our economy.
Mm.
I don't believe that. What does that say? I couldn't see it.
Be nice to each other in the chat. I just want
Oh,
people, because we're talking politics, so everybody gets heated.
oh yeah. And if people want to talk back to me, talk back to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, Kim said we are, because Kim's got it all controlled. I just want to make sure everybody, is calm, cool,
okay.
and
Oh, I
collected.
see. Yeah. 'Cause
Proactive, calm, cool, and collected.
thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Kim. Yay.
So, do we want to keep going about this?
Well, it's up to you. You're the one reading it. If you want
Oh,
to move
oh,
on or
wrong.
if you have commentary.
I just
I
wonder if
mean,
people get bored. Jones, meanwhile, he's one of the Tennessee people who got removed. Meanwhile, led protests, I guess earlier, to
yeah.
remove the bust of Ku Klux Klan founder Nathan Bedford Forrest outside the state legislature. And in that episode, several of the same legislative players rushed to stifle legitimate dissent with
Of
even
course.
more draconian measures.
Of
In
course they did.
Of course they
Of
did.
course they did.
And a lot of this gun violence and a lot of this psyop, it is reactionary to Obama having been named president.
Oh, of course it is. I mean, if you have a brain, you know it. I saw it. All right, let's see what else how much more this goes. Um, wow, it does tell the history. It's up to you if you want to keep going.
In 2019, Jones threw a cup at House Speaker Glenn Casala. They claimed it was hot coffee. Jones, claimed it was an empty iced tea cup. They had Justin arrested and banned from the Capitol.
Wow.
They also sent a fake email to the DA saying he had violated the terms of his bond and tried to get him thrown in jail. That was caught, and so it didn't happen. And eventually the charges were dropped. Cameron Sexton was on talk radio at that time talking with Jones, and what a threat he was. Oh, talking about Jones.
Yeah.
It's worth noting that Casada, yeah, I guess I don't care about their political dynamics. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
But this is what is going on in Tennessee. This article, the show notes, it'll be in the show notes if you want to go down to the bottom. There was one little piece at the end, if you want to read that last paragraph.
what's it start with?
But
Yeah, okay. But such is the logic of politics of recursive white grievance. Anytime it's confronted with anyone or anything that countervails its chosen narrative of acute victimization and concerted payback. Quote, The state has gone totally fascist. Well, if not fascist, then white evangelical Christian, Cohen said. It's 2042 they fear, the moment when they're no longer in the majority, when there's, and I just can't see it. And the more they act like this, the more minorities are going to have something to be fighting back about. Like,
I think because
Bentley went with what's coming. Everybody's going to be reasonable. But if you're unreasonable, guess what? They're going to be. What is it that Kennedy said? If you make nonviolent revolution impossible, you make violent revolution a necessity. That's not quite it, but
right. Well, I get it. I know the one you're saying. Let me take a break here for a second and say hi to Bumblebee Smurf God and Nadia and Gazer and Kinky. Hi, Kinky. And Don James is here with us, and Apple Scab and Darlene Parole. Ooh, Darlene. There was Bila. I got the package. I'll write to you. Thanks. And Melanie and Chris Spavins, thank you. And Early Love 2023. Very, very nice to see all you. Scott Andrews, I'm really happy to see you guys. So anyway. All right. So we took our little break, and I have a couple of other little, one more video. What you say? We hear the video? Just
yeah.
one more little clip. I didn't do a lot with this, and I don't think we saw this one. Okay, hang on a second, guys. This was one of those last minute putting together a show, and I want to show. Rise like the water. Gonna face this crisis now. Gonna face this crisis now. Hear the voice of the sons and daughters. Hear the voice of the sons and daughters. Please protect me now. Say, please protect me now. People gonna rise like the water. People gonna rise like the water. Gonna face this crisis now. Yeah, that's what's happening in Tennessee. And somebody in the chat had said they couldn't figure out what was happening in Tennessee. I can't figure out what happened in Tennessee. And what happened in Tennessee was disparate, unequal treatment of 3 representatives from the state that actually attended an anti-gun rally after that slaughter in the school, in the Covenant School. And they were, pretty much vilified, and they
got voted. Somehow
voted out.
They got voted to be not in the legislature no more.
The 2 black men and Gloria, the white woman, made it by one person. Yeah. So there you go. If that's, I'm answering the question. So.
I think it's good to answer that question.
I wanted to answer for you.
Yeah, the kids, the teenagers are tired of being shot in school, and so they came to their legislator along with their parents, and the Republicans weren't going to go for it. We're making guns just as easy to get as we can get them, and so those 2 black men, that's the piece that I was reading. They brought those kids into the well of the legislator, which is kind of the speaking zone, and talked with a bullhorn. And I don't know why they did that, but who cares? It's not that. Yeah, that guy said, you want some attention? We're going to give you some attention.
Yeah, and I hear you.
My hero is a man named Keith Oberman, and he
I
was like,
took one of his clips, Kelly. I didn't, but I almost did.
He said, the only thing missing was the word boy. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I saw it. I watched it on Twitter and I thought about it. I thought about it, but
Yeah.
all right. So in the interest of time, Cal, I think we're going to move on a little bit. The only, I was going to go into an area, I don't know. I just wanted to show a couple of things. Well, I don't think we have time on this show. Maybe I'll have to make it another show about the hypocrisy, what's happening also, how these people are so pious and they are blaming the as the drag shows, which I honestly, I didn't even know that they were having Drag Time Story Hour. I hadn't even never heard of it until it became the manufactured outrage it is. But there are, and I'll pull it up, there are so many more people being arrested. This is a Louisiana Pentecostal pastor has been arrested for a second time and is facing additional child sex crime charges. Pastor Milton O. Martin is not a drag queen. This happens constantly. In the religious community, not, again, it just happens. And here's another one. Every day in the USA, okay, former Benton County coach and youth pastor sentenced to 45 years for exploiting children. Quincy youth pastor arrested following sexual abuse investigation. Teacher and youth pastor is latest member of clergy in rural Texas County accused of child sex crimes. And former Southern Baptist youth pastor pleaded guilty to numerous sexual assaults with 60 kids. So I had wanted to bring that up because I am so tired of the gaslighting and the lying by these fake, phony people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and all of them, fake and phony. Fake and phony.
Boebert's husband is accused of having exposed himself in public.
Right. And you know what? I'm going to do a flush, Kelly. I'm going to flush the perverts.
Can we flush the DNC for not financing a opponent in the last race?
Yeah,
and
well, they're
like 236 votes.
Well,
I can't remember.
We could, but I really want to flush the perverted pastors.
Oh, okay.
They have to go. The perverted, it started with, I don't know if you remember the Archdiocese, it's Boston. It's been all over for years. So there's so much hypocrisy. And that's a whole other show. But we're going to flush the perverts. Yes. Flush the perverts away. Okay. Because I'm telling you, I'm so tired. So now we are going to, in the interest of time, because we're an hour already, and we could go, Kelly and I could do this. Man, because you should hear us on the phone.
Yeah, about all this stuff.
Yeah, but we want to move on, and we're going to link this with climate change. And because we are this is our topic on the channel, but this was a Common Dreams article, and we're going to tag team this. All right, Cal. So I'm going to start this one, and we'll tag team it. How's that?
Which publication is this in?
This is Common Dreams. The first of its kind study links U.S. gun violence to the gun violence epidemic to climate emergency.
Okay.
It's really short, but it's interesting and it's new, and this is what I wanted to make the whole thing tie it up. There's just so much to discuss in such a short time, but this was interesting, and so I'll start it. And it's not that long. Researchers in the U.S. have linked the climate crisis and the extreme weather patterns it causes to the country's epidemic of gun violence in a first-of-its-kind analysis, showing that thousands of shootings in the U.S. in recent years were attributable to higher-than-average temperatures. Get that. As Environmental Journal reported Tuesday, experts at Boston University School of Public Health and University of Washington School of Social Work analyzed 116,000 shootings in 100 of the county's most populous cities between 2015 and 2020. And they found that 7,973 took place during periods of unseasonable heat, concluding that about 7% of shootings could be attributed to extreme heat. The research, which was originally published in the Journal of American Medical Association, opened in December, found that the Northeast and Midwest saw the greatest increases in gun violence on days that were unseasonably hot, but the trend was observed across the country. Cal, do you want to, or you want me to keep going?
Sure. What I found interesting about that was, those red states in that map on gunviolence.org, they all have real hot,
They're always hot.
but it's not hot right now. I mean, it's winter, but nonetheless. Okay, so it starts with the research, right?
Yeah.
Is that where I'm at? Okay.
It starts with the little piece that says we know that segregation and disinvestment. Okay.
We know that segregation and disinvestment lead communities of color, especially Black communities, to have greater exposure to adverse environmental conditions that contribute to gun violence risk, end quote. When the temperature rose within the 96th percentile of average daily temperatures, the cities of Seattle and Las Vegas saw the highest elevated risk of gun violence, according to the analysis. In Seattle, the temperature rose to 84 degrees, while people in Vegas faced 104-degree temperatures. Quote, it could be that the heat causes stress, which makes people more likely to use aggression, said Dr. Jonathan Jay, a co-author of the study and faculty member of Boston University's Center for Climate and Health. Quote, or it could be that people are more likely to get out on warmer days and have more interactions, which create more opportunities for conflict and violence. Most likely, it's a combination of both, end quote. While it is the first analysis of the correlation between the climate crisis and gun violence in the United States, the study offers the latest evidence of a dynamic that has been previously reported. Violent incidents, including domestic and gender-based violence, increased during and after extreme weather events driven by the climate emergency. As the Washington Post reported Wednesday, the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, in 2022 identified a link between extreme weather and domestic violence, while The Lancet published an analysis of more than 40 studies showing, quote, an increase in one or several gender-based violence. Boy, not written for radio, that's what I'm going to tell you.
She is a radio host.
Published an analysis of more than 40 studies showing an increase in one or more of gender-based violence forms during or after extreme events. So I assume they're saying like a slap, a punch, a gun, something like that, but domestic violence. Often related to economic instability, food insecurity, mental stress, disrupted infrastructure, increased exposure to men? What? Okay, to men. I'm curious what that's supposed to mean.
Right to the author.
Yes, excuse me, can you explain this?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to skip the tweet. Catherine University in Minnesota, which found that economic stress caused by flooding, drought, and extreme heat in Kenya were linked to a 60% rise in domestic violence in certain parts of the country.
I see. Exposed to men being domestic violence against females.
Okay.
So it's hot. The guys beat the shit out of their bitches. Oh, okay.
Right. And in tribal life, and I don't know, this is a very generalized statement because I don't know, there's like 54 countries in Africa and I don't study it well enough to know, but some cultures in Africa, women live apart from men. They live not all the way apart, but it's separated a little more. Evidence for the connection between violence and the effects of the climate emergency is, quote, overwhelming. Terry McGovern of Columbia University's Mailman School of Public Health told the Post Tuesday, quote, heat waves, floods, climate-induced disasters, increased sexual harassment, mental and physical abuse, femicide, and reduced economic and educational opportunity increase the risk of trafficking due to forced migration. Oh God, that makes my stomach wrench. What goes on in that realm? McGovern told the newspaper. Researchers at Boston University and Washington University said their new study makes the case both for lawmakers to pass gun control and climate action measures for local investment in heat mitigation strategies, such as increased tree cover in urban heat islands. By the way, I want to point out another opportunity for people to, it's called carbon briefs. And they sort of rewrite the IPCC's reports into manageable, understandable,
Yes.
you won't go to sleep pieces. And they have one up not too long ago about India's heat action plans and what they're going to do to mitigate what went on last year and hope that people don't die in such big numbers. All
And
right,
you
return.
said that to me. Thank you. It is. And everybody does know Carbon Brief. We've used them as a resource. But thank you. We were going to do that, and then we segued.
No, we went another way.
we segued. All right.
So, oh, do you want to go back to it?
Yeah, where are we?
We are
Because it's
introducing.
over. I'll go, while introducing the Saving Hazardous and Declining Environments Shade Act in 2021, Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, a Democrat from New Jersey, noted that many formerly redlined urban neighborhoods are on average 4.68 Fahrenheit hotter than non-redline areas due to reduced tree cover and increased asphalt or concrete surfaces. We know that segregation and disinvestment lead communities of color, especially Black communities, to have greater exposure to adverse environmental conditions that contribute to gun violence risk, such as abandoned buildings, liquor stores, lack of green space, and more intense urban heat islands. And that's true. Heat mitigation strategies could be a crucial part of an effort that is part racial justice, part climate change mitigation, and part gun violence prevention. So there's a link to climate change. We found it. And now it's definitely going to be looked at. So I was glad to be able to segue over and circle to that one.
And it's clear that violence increases internationally in times where people are stressed for one way or another. But it turns to gun violence more predominantly in the United States. And I'm very curious. There was that Michael Moore movie years and years and years ago called Bowling for Columbine. And he tried to suss out, what's going on and why are we so
crazy?
fearful, and he really put it down to we are fearful. We react with fear.
Earlier, Obsolete Optics had a comment. I want to try to find it. I should have about religion, and it was very interesting. And now I can't find. Oh, here. The rejection of religion is why socialism fails. Spirit moves through all things. Science has failed our Mother Earth. Science brought us environmental destruction on a scale never seen before. That's one way to look at things, but I don't think it's the whole picture because I don't think science was inherently evil or bad. Kelley?
I just want to say that religion and spirituality are not the same. So if you take that bit about religion away from that, I agree with everything that follows. Not that science is bad, so I guess not everything, but spirit moves through everything. And that using science to segment everything into little compartments, I have ickies about that too. But religion is not spirituality.
No.
Religion is using a whole lot of words and rules and capturing our spirituality to control people. And it happens in religions other than Christianity. it happens in Islam, it happens in Buddhism, not in the same ways, but in similar ways. And I'm not a super world religion student, so I don't want to ramble on about it too much. But uh, I I take spirituality really seriously, but religion is a whole nother thing. And there are a lot of religious people uh, who have strong spirituality, who are coming from the same understanding of Christ that I have. And then there's these fundamentalists, and and I was trying to find, and
Like
I
these
didn't.
guys, all these wonderful Christian, list of convicted Republican pedophiles, and it's on.
I just wonder if there's a similar list of Democratic or
I
blue.
looked. It certainly
Oh,
isn't like this.
okay, all
There's
right.
something going on, and I'm not. Hey, there's something going on that's that seems to be
Well, what
inherently. It's
it's
crazy in a way.
taboo, it's restriction. Like, what's that guy from Florida, Gates? And it turns out he has gay lovers. You know, who the
Well, we
hell?
don't. Do we really know that though, or is that hearsay? I mean, these were convicted people that I just showed.
Well, it's not
Convicted.
a crime to have a gay lover.
No,
He's not going to get convicted
but
for
is
it.
that? But is it true? I mean, is that? Do we
He
know
hasn't
that for?
denied it. I would have to look up. I don't
Okay,
remember where I saw it, or
because if it's not, if
I'll
we
look.
don't know it
Right,
like
but
that,
and
and
then
I don't
okay,
like
well,
the
there's
guy.
the
So
liar from New Jersey. What's his name? We don't
which
even
one?
know the
Which
one. The
one? Chris
the one from
Christie?
Brazil.
Oh,
The one from Brazil.
oh, George Santos. He's from Long Island. George
Oh,
Santos, the
oh,
biggest
that
joke
he's so
ever.
good. Yeah.
And they can't get rid of George Santos. How is that? I mean, even the people that voted for him wanted to get rid of him. How is it that this can happen? How is it that people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they can protest, they can whip up the masses and do all that stuff, and they don't get anything. They're in Congress, nothing happens. But these two guys in Tennessee get kicked out of the state house. I mean, it's like insane. We are in opposite world, as my other talk show friend, host Nicole Sandler says. Opposite world, and she has a whole thing for it. But
Yeah, that's right. Let's see
yeah,
if I can this
yes, ma'am.
okay, so I guess he's denying that he had this relationship, and I have no idea. I don't follow that boy around. But
No,
my
I
point
don't either.
really is that so many Republicans whose names are gone. I have to, when I write an article, I have to look everything up because I don't have such a good memory for details. But they say, "Oh, that's all so bad," and then they're doing that. They're having gay lovers, they're having extramarital affairs. And that's just the things that are legal. I don't even want to talk about the things that are. It makes my skin hurt. But I think it's just about taboo and shame and all the stuff that where it's like
Guilt.
when women went to work, it took a while, but men benefited because they
Of
got to be
course.
more of who they are. When we let people be who they are, we benefit by getting to be more of who we are. And they're missing that. They're too fear based. That's my
I agree.
opinion.
I like that. Yes, it's too much fear based. I think there's too much fear based.
Shame. It's almost
Oh, Bela Santos drank the Nassau County water. That was great. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
and
He
who
should know.
pays that guy Santos? Somebody's paying that boy.
Well, somebody's paying everybody, and that's on both sides. I mean, there's no getting away. You buy your politician no matter what side you're on. I just don't think that the left side is as
100%
ugly.
California.
What?
Oh,
What did you? What?
I
No,
said
say.
Katie Porter. She's the woman with the whiteboard. She's in
Yeah.
Congress right now, and she's running to take Dianne Feinstein's Senate seat.
Yay! Diane is not really running. The only reason why Nancy Pelosi said that that she would support her is to save face and respect within the thing. But Dianne Feinstein's not running. It's Adam Schiff is running against Katie Porter.
And so is the only woman, the only congressperson who voted
Oh, Barbara
against.
Lee.
Yes, thank you.
That's a threesome. That's a threesome, huh?
I wish Adam Schiff would go away so we could
I
just.
wish he would go away.
Adam, but I don't want him to split. I want to see a vote between these two women, because Katie Porter, she does not take any corporate money. That's the kind of leadership I need. I don't know what else.
That's how nope, that's our channel. We are definitely not the corporate channel. I started as a Bernie person. So, yep, absolutely. Right on. Yep. Right on. Oh my God. Let's see.
She has my heart because she has been solidly anti-war for so long, and in a positive way. We won't talk about war right now, but
no, please.
By the way, did you know that March 30th was the 50th anniversary of us getting out of Vietnam?
Yeah, 50. Yep, I saw it. 50. I don't know what the media was doing that day, but I knew it.
They didn't really, we're too gung-ho. Like, they don't want to talk about that because...
Oh, no, we can't teach children that there was a Vietnam War. We can't teach children that there was slavery. See, I said the whole answer is just don't have children. Stop this, out of control population growth. Don't have children. You don't have to worry about them in school. I know that's not going to happen.
I have encouraged... I encourage every young person, in a heartfelt way to avoid having children if they can.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's the first act of child abuse. It's a bad, it's a bad situation. It's a biological drive. People want to do that. And I don't judge anybody. I don't denigrate anybody, but if they can avoid it, if they can override their hormones and use just their brain on it.
Yeah, well, just like they say that gun control ain't gonna happen, people aren't gonna stop having kids. I don't think, anyway.
No,
I don't know. No. So
but
how you guys? What?
I encourage them. I also discourage every child I know, teenager, from joining the military. I still have that Vietnam heart.
She has the Vietnam heart, and you were a little bitty kid. You were a little bitty kid. Yeah. You were a little bitty kid. Let's see. I don't trust any of these politicians. I don't waste my time. That's fine, Scott. I don't waste a lot of time, but I don't like the wrongs, and I think it's all part of the big ass collapse. The big picture. All these wrongs. All this disparity, all this hurt, all this manufactured outrage, all this anger. It's going nowhere.
Well, and there's a concerted effort to keep the voting population so confused and disgusted with the system that they take that attitude so that they don't vote, so that they're non-entities to contend with.
Nadia wants to know if you're an antinatalist.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, antinatalist means anti-having children, that people just should not have children. And there's a whole antinatalist movement. This chick used to follow us, Susan, would come on our channel. She was an antinatalist. People that
my heart of hearts, yes, but I don't tell anyone else what to do. Right. If I'm given a personal opportunity, I'll say it's a bad idea, but I'm not going to say this is the only way that,
I hear you.
I'm uncomfortable telling other people what to do.
Well, it's not telling people what to do. It's giving your feeling in the situation of our planet. It is probably not in any child's best interest to come into this world.
That's that.
Right.
Not just give my stance on abortion is that it says in the Bible that until you reach the age of majority, no child will go to hell no matter what they've done. Once, not the age of majority, excuse me, the age of reason. I apologize. And I think that's around 7 in the Catholic tradition. And so, every abortion is a free ticket to heaven. And so that's my attitude is, why would you make some kid come into life and have to pass the test when they get a free, like,
My God. Did I? Wait.
I really,
We're floating to heaven. Wait, that was the wrong one. I can't even find the right sound effects. I haven't used them. I'm playing them all now. Oh, that's the Jennifer Cat
I'm going to
sound
play that
effect.
back to me at my trial when we get to
Stop. You're such a you're a radical. Dee Dee says antinatalism is against forcing anyone. Right. Nobody. It's a discussion. So,
Yeah.
hey Tim, yeah, antinatalists get a bad rap. I agree with that. I mean, I think you look around and we look at the science. We look at. I mean, I have a 34-year-old. I have one, but we, you look at everything and you realize just, oh, Kelley is a treat. Thank you,
thanks.
Tim. Tim is a fellow filmmaker.
All right.
He was actually my inspiration to learn how to make videos and edit and do all that. So thank you, Tim. I do completely. I loved him. There you go. Yeah. All right. So everybody, we have been an hour and 22 minutes and I'm fairly out. Kelley, would you like to give the chat a little, oh, wait, I got a comment I like. Gary Hoover. I talk with young people, with children, and encourage them to love their kids and know that the universe took nearly 14 billion years to make them. They are beloved and they belong, come what may. Well, once they're here, of course they belong. I mean, of course you want the best for them. You love everything, every child that comes, they're here. They're beautiful. You're not going to say
Republican children.
Except what? Republican children?
No, I said even the Republican children.
Even the Republican children. Oh. All right. Well, hey. Thank you guys.
Thanks for letting me come on with you again. That was fun.
Wait a minute. Tim, what? Do we give each that same speech to each sperm? All right, now we're ending. We're getting to the
eggs.
We're getting to the silly part of the show. But thank you guys, Kelley. I thank you for guest hosting with me on a Friday night. Jennifer's going to be back next Friday night. I'm sure she will have tales to tell.
Ooh.
And I want to remind everybody. I want to thank those that have donated to the fundraiser, and it's still up on PayPal. It's in the show notes. Besides the Buy Me a Coffee, I explained it in the last show, but we are having a fundraiser, and I am actually wearing Ecamm Live. I'm advertising for free. That is the software I use. I love Ecamm Live and almost lost Ecamm Live, and it was because of a financial thing. So I want to thank everyone for helping this channel stay afloat. And Kelley, I would love to have you back as a co-host. I think it would be wonderful if you would do that again. What do you say? Yeah?
Why not? It's been a blast.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Both shows. And the last show that I was supposed to do with you, it didn't play on YouTube Live.
No, that was a whole ordeal. That you got that ding from YouTube or whatever. I don't even know, but that was interesting.
We got to do a 3-way with Jennifer. Absolutely. We got hey, Fun P. All right, I'm so glad. Somebody, I love you guys. I love you. Thank you. And we are going to say, we are going to worship now. Let's worship.